in the forgotten corners of the FM dial. Sometimes, in the dead of night, a broadcast bleeds through from a station no longer listed, a station that burned down 20 years ago. Welcome to WZRD Radio. Turn the dial if you dare. It started with a hum, barely perceptible, like the sound of power lines buzzing from a distant pole. Just enough to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand at attention. You wouldn't notice it if you were flipping through stations. But if you paused just long enough, at 103.1 FM around 3:17 a.m., you'd hear something you weren't supposed to. For years, WZRD Radio had been off the air, not by choice. A fire gutted the station's main building just outside the small town of Dunridge, Illinois, back in 2005. No one survived, not the host, the engineers, nor the night janitor. The fire marshal blamed faulty wiring. Locals blamed something else. The broadcast had been strange for weeks before it went up in flames. But in 2022, people started reporting the signal again. Not everyone could catch it. Just a few. Truckers on lonely highways, night shift workers in isolated buildings, late-night insomniacs fiddling with old analog radios. But the pattern was always the same. Around 3:17 a.m., the static would break and WZRD would return. Not with music, not with commercials, just the voice. It was low and distorted, like it was crawling out of a well. The voice didn't announce itself. It didn't welcome you to WZRD. It just started talking, sometimes in English, sometimes in a language no one could quite place. Always cryptic. There was one night, recorded by a ham radio operator out of St. Louis. He uploaded it to Reddit before deleting his account. The file lasted exactly 6 minutes and 13 seconds. It began with breathing, heavy, shaky breathing. Then the voice said, "He is standing behind the mirror. Don't turn around. He watches through your reflection." And then, silence. 3 days later, the operator's house burned down. No cause determined. More people began chasing the signal, trying to record it, trying to decode it. Some claimed it spoke directly to them, repeating phrases only they should know. One woman said she heard her mother's lullaby, her mother who had died in 1997. A man from Kentucky said it repeated the last voicemail his brother left before vanishing in the Smoky Mountains. And still, at 3:17 a.m., it returned. No call sign, no DJ, no song, just stories. Terrifying, cryptic stories. Once, a man from Kansas posted online that WZRD told him about the one-eyed door. He didn't explain what it was, just said, "If it ever opens, the sky will bleed." His post got removed for violating guidelines. He hasn't been seen since. It became an obsession. Forums popped up, WZRD hunters, dial seekers, the Static Club. People shared recordings, time logs, AM and FM coordinates, but no one could agree on where the signal was coming from. Then came the forest signal. A hiker in Ohio brought a portable analog radio on a camping trip in Wayne National Forest. He was alone, 5 miles off trail. He reported hearing children laughing through the radio. Not normal laughter, twisted, metallic. Then the voice returned. "You are walking on old ground, where blood sank into the soil and roots drank the memories. That hiker ran all night and never camped again. The legend says, if you hear your name on WZRD, your days are numbered." A nurse in Nebraska testified online that the voice whispered her name just before a car crash that left her in a coma for 2 months. She survived, but claimed she dreamed of being trapped in a burning radio booth the entire time. Others haven't been so lucky. In March 2023, a college student from Minnesota live-streamed himself tuning into WZRD. The voice said, Your shadow doesn't belong to you anymore." He laughed nervously. 2 weeks later, his roommate reported that he refused to turn on lights and had covered all mirrors in their apartment. Eventually, the student disappeared from a locked room. The only thing left behind was a melted radio and a scorched floor. Still, the signal persists. Paranormal investigators tried triangulating the source. Equipment fried every time. One group believed the origin was underground, beneath the ruins of the original WZRD station. But the land was fenced off by the state in 2010, labeled an environmental hazard. No one is allowed near, but the static grows stronger. Some say the voice isn't human, that it's a receiver, not a broadcaster. That WZRD is picking up transmissions from somewhere else, another place, another plane. That it's not telling stories, but leaking memories. Ghosts caught between frequencies. And now, some are trying to respond. Using modified transmitters, people have attempted to send messages back through 103.1 FM. Most get nothing. Static, feedback, silence. But a teenager in Nevada claims she heard a reply. She sent, "Who are you?" The response came minutes later. "You already know. You buried me beneath the tower." There was no tower nearby, but her grandfather had worked at WZRD before the fire. She doesn't talk about it anymore. A rumor circulates on the deep web. A final message is supposed to be coming. The last broadcast of WZRD. A countdown hidden in the background hum of the signal, one that ends this year. People have isolated the frequency patterns, run them through software, and claim it aligns with lunar cycles. The last pattern ends on Halloween night, 2025. What happens then? No one knows. But some theorize the final broadcast will be a full hour. A story never told. A confession. A curse. Others say it'll be an invitation. And if you answer it, you'll never come back. So next time you're driving, late at night, and the road is empty, if your radio starts to fuzz, if a whisper bleeds through the static, if a low voice says your name, do not listen. Do not answer. And whatever you do, don't tune in at 103.1 FM at 3:17 a.m., because that's when they speak. And once they know you're listening, you're part of the broadcast. Forever. You've just listened to the last broadcast. Or maybe it's your first. WZRD is always looking for new voices, new listeners, new stories. Next time you hear the static whisper, ask yourself, are you tuning in, or are they tuning into you? Good night, and don't forget to unplug your radio.